What's up, everybody? This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com. I did a podcast episode last night, like super late. It was after midnight, so I was on my nightly walk. I try to walk every night for a couple miles. I just get on my phone and start, talking in my phone and call it a podcast. And it's been fun. But yesterday, something very interesting happened. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about this a little bit on camera. Yesterday, something like really crazy happened. So about 11 o'clock or so over here, you try to get on Facebook and nothing happens. And the whole world's like, what's going on? This is crazy. What do we do? The sky is falling. So it wasn't just Facebook, though. It was Instagram and WhatsApp, and every now and then there were some parts of Twitter and Gmail that were down for a little bit as well, which was really crazy. And so I found out yesterday, which is kind of interesting, is we've got a friend at church that's a conspiracy theory type person, and actually happen to agree with a lot of what she says. But she was talking to Atticus yesterday, and Atticus said, yeah, she mentioned that there's going to be a blackout of some sort today. And I go, what? So she already knew it was coming for some reason. I don't really know exactly how or why, but kind of fun to think about. But anyways, in any event, I wanted to talk a little bit about like how social media has impacted our hobby, and really kind of step back from this Web 2.0 that we're in right now, I guess is what they call it, and look at how collecting was before social media. So social media, and I'm always late to the party when it comes to technology. I just am. I joined Facebook years after it got popular. Same with Twitter, years after YouTube, Instagram. I'm just very late on all these things, and so it's been interesting to think about how many layers have been added into this hobby of ours because of social media. Before then, we obviously had forums, right? So we could post things on forums all the time, and I did that frequently. Like I've written articles on forums for like probably about a decade now or something, fairly frequently as well. But it takes a lot of time to do, and there's a lot of research, and even just like posting pictures, it takes a little know-how to do. But when it comes to social media, if you pick up a card, like let's say, this card here, and you're excited about it, you can snap a picture, then go to Facebook, post it, hey guys, look what I got. And instantly, just like that, you have access to thousands of other collectors that can say, man, that's a really cool card. Hey, where'd you pick it up? Are you interested in selling it? Do you want to trade it? Like there's so many things that, so many avenues that social media has opened up for us. And so I think it, as a whole, it's really kind of helped and hurt us, I guess. But as far as the helping goes, let's say you're excited about a card. I actually just did one for, so I did this one and another one yesterday. I took a picture, wrote an article, put it on my website at tanmanbaseballfan.com, talked about Timothy Keefe. I even did a YouTube video yesterday, I think, about it. And I was really kind of excited to show the pictures in the article on Facebook, and I couldn't post it. I was like clicking the button, what's going on? Why isn't this going? And, sure enough, Facebook was down for hours. But it was fun to think about like, what do I get? What value do I get out of posting this educational article that I've written? And, also the ability to, of course, kind of show off what I have and share these cool little 19th century pieces of art that I have, is what I like to call them. And so I started thinking about that quite a bit. So the first thing that I was thinking was, number one, the interaction, the engagement, the community that actually comes together and we can converse just like that. Like there's people on their phones all the time, probably checking their social media dozens and dozens of times every day. For me, on my computer back here, I have Facebook and Twitter open all the time, and I just check it from time to time. So it's fun to be able to interact. It's also fun to be able to teach others what I've learned, but it's also fun to learn from others that are teaching out there by posting articles of things that they've learned about our hobby and everything, which is really cool. So that was like a big thing. So when the moment that I was able to post that, which I did today, whenever Facebook came back up, I was able to interact with these people that were like, "Hey, man, that's really cool." Somebody posted, they go, "Yeah, he actually was born in my hometown," and having that throughout the day kind of puts baseball cards at the forefront of your brain throughout the day. And so when you're thinking more about the hobby, I'm just speaking in general for collectors. When you're thinking about the hobby throughout the day, you think about wanting to go to eBay or something, or the forums also, or checking more Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, see what there's for sale out there. So I think that's a very helpful thing for the health of our hobby. The hurtful thing, obviously, is it can be addictive, and that's not just the hobby itself really as much as it's Facebook. There's a lot of people that I've heard of that they said, I just got burned out of Facebook and Twitter because I was sick of seeing everybody post their beautifully perfect vacation family photos, and here I am just kind of slogging away doing laundry or something, and so that really kind of grates on people a lot of times, which is I get it, kind of, it doesn't really bother me personally, but I get it, I understand. But yeah, it's fun because for the hobby, at the very least, like, we can connect and engage with each other in a way that's unprecedented. Like, we've never had anything like this before in the past, like, especially, I want to say 5 years or so, when it's really saturated the hobby, and it's been great. Something else, like, I've been thinking about, like, these cards that I've been able to add to my collection over the past few years because of social media. And I'll give you an example. There's somebody by the name of Robert. He reached out to me on Facebook. He said, "Hey, Tanner, check out this forum. There's somebody selling a 1915 Cracker Jack Shoeless Joe Jackson in Ty Cobb." And I was super excited about it. I would have never known about it on my own. So, I went over there. Sure enough, I was able to make a deal, get a deal done. And it wouldn't have happened had I not been on social media or anything, which is really cool. Another thing that happened is I was scrolling one time on Facebook, and somebody posted this the 1899 M101-1 on this Wagner rookie, and I was like, my jaw dropped. I've shown that a few times online and everything, and at least one video, I think a few videos at this point, and man, it's just like it's a piece that belongs in a museum. But I reached out to the guy and I was like, "Hey, is that for sale by any chance?" Just sheer curiosity. I didn't know how much he would want for it, 100,000 or a million or what, but it was like drastically less than that, especially when I bought it, which is before all the crazy price spikes that happened in our hobby. But anyway, so he said it was for sale, and in about a week we had a deal done. We've never seen it. We've never even known it existed. It's I think there's only been like 7 or so that have sold in the records that I see, at least in the past like 20 years or something. So it's wildly rare. We've never seen it. We've never even known it existed had it not been for social media. So I keep thinking, like, let's rewind 5 or 10 years before all of these Facebook groups and everything. What would I be doing in the hobby? I think I would still be very active. Probably wouldn't have as much time devoted to it, just because it's easy to fill up your time, fill up your entire day if you wanted to, when it comes to things about the hobby. Like, there's always people that are posting. There's always people out there that are posting things, questions, polls, show off posts, for sale posts, what they're buying, what they're trading, that sort of thing. But I'd probably be sticking to the forums and be checking eBay and everything. But the hobby is so much more multifaceted now, and it's not just about collecting. Like, it's no longer just about, I see a card, I like a card, I buy a card, it's now my collection. That's it. There's so much more to it, because we can share what we've picked up from time to time online, and educate others about the certain card or the player that's depicted on the card. And there's just so much more that you can do, and so it just makes it for a much more richer experience, if that makes sense. So It's really been kind of a neat deal. So the other thing that I like is the ability that we have to tag each other when we see something that someone might like. And we're always looking out for each other, right? And so the number one thing when I sold out of my Conseco stuff back in 2018, um, it was going to be a tough pill for me to swallow to realize that there were people that weren't going to be tagging me anymore on these cards, because it made me feel so good that there were people that cared enough and that were kind enough to remember my name when they saw a rare Conseco on Facebook and would tag me. And so thankfully I have a bunch of people doing that again, which I'm really happy about. I love that so much that that there are people out there that actually literally think about me and they go, hey, this rare Conseco might be cool in Tanner's collection. I'm going to tag him. And it's just the greatest thing ever. It's good to know that people are thinking about me. I try to do the same thing for others as well whenever I see something that somebody else might like. And that's a good feeling too. It's a really great feeling to be able to help somebody land a card that they just love in their collection. And that's what it's all about, I think, is really kind of helping everybody out, helping each other out. And social media allows that to happen very easily. You can tag somebody very quickly. You can private message them and say, hey, check out this over here. There's something that you might really like. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. And I thought about it quite a bit yesterday for the, 6 or 7 hours that Facebook was down or whatever it was. Just amazing to me. It's just amazing to me how wildly different things are now. Like, not just from the past 5 or 10 years, but obviously back in my heyday of, collecting as a child, we would, and my story's not really unique. I mean, it's pretty common to, compared to everybody else as well, that collect in the 80s and 90s is, you have friends in your neighborhood. There was no internet, remember, really back then, other than Prodigy, but we'll get into that later. But we had friends that were neighbors that collected baseball cards. We got together and we showed our pile of 89 Donruss and 88 Tops, and we sifted through them and wanted to see what we could trade for what. Mother's Cookies cards were huge. We were excited about being able to tell the story of how Dad came home with 6, bags of Mother's Cookies, and Mom yelled at him for it because we don't need all those cookies in the pantry and everything. But she just didn't understand, right? Because there were baseball cards in each one of them, and so those were the stories that we had back then. And it's almost like we've kind of gone like a full circle back into it being more community driven again, even though it's like virtual as opposed to physical, like actually sitting with someone. Like, I can count the people that have seen my collection in person on one hand. It's all online for me for the most part. In my circles here, friends and family, I don't think there's anybody that comes to mind that collects. I mean, I have friends that are collectors and they're friends because they're collectors, and become more than that, more than just collecting friends, but actual friends. But other than that, like actual friends that I had before collecting, or has nothing to do with collecting, and family, nobody else collects. It's me. I'm known as the baseball card guy, so they'll listen to some of my stories, but I'll try to be as respectful of them as I can by not overloading them with everything when it comes to stories, because I could talk for hours, and I have talked for hours about baseball cards. I think I brought this up on my podcast a few nights ago. This is kind of a funny story that I'll end with. So Holly, my wife, she couldn't sleep the other night, and she goes, oh man, it's like 2 a.m. I can't sleep. Can you talk about something boring for me to help me get to sleep? I was like, okay, I will. So I'm telling her about this story about me going to the grocery store and how I hate going to the grocery store shopping, and how I'm trying to, pick out all the things that she wants, but I have to call her 23 times to make sure I'm getting the right thing. And she goes, okay, stop, Tanner, stop. Like, why? What's wrong? She goes, this is too interesting to me. I can't really fully, tune you out because I want to know what's happened. Tell me something that's like more boring. Like, tell me about your baseball stuff. And she's done that before in the past as well. And I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. I was thinking, really, you would rather listen to baseball and baseball card history and everything over a trip of me going to the grocery store, because you think that's more boring sounding than the story of me going to the grocery store. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. So, but it allows me to kind of just talk, and so we covered a lot of ground. We covered the mid 90s Braves pitching staff with Steve Avery and John Smoltz and Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. How I met Tom Glavine, and I met Frank Thomas, and Frank Thomas just loved my custom cards, and how I met Craig Biggio, and then we went on to talk about how me and Tony Gwynn share the same birthday, but we're 20 years apart and everything. And then moved on to Kirby Puckett and how they used to have what's called the Puck Pack in Minnesota McDonald's. And then I think we probably talked about some Ted Williams, and then Ty Cobb. And when I say we talked about, it was me talking, obviously. Another thing, about Frank Thomas again as well. 1990 Leaf, how the Series 1 packs were $5, the Series 2 packs were $10 back then. And I remember my childhood hero, Mike, the baseball card dealer from the bullpen, reaches back just like a boss, right? He takes out a single pack of 1990 Leaf Series 2, opens it, and a Frank Thomas, lo and behold, is right there. And he puts it in the case, and it was probably only like $2 or $3 card, back then. But he goes, if somebody was smart, they're going to pick this card up because this card is going to go up for like 13 months straight. And it did. And I never really understood how he knew that. But anyways, it happened. It was pretty cool. So I was able to tell these stories, and, Holly was probably, I don't remember anymore. I'm sure she was out like a light by the time I got to, mid 70s baseball, but it's kind of a funny deal. But again, we're going to bring this back to engagement and community. The more that you have outlets to be able to tell others and converse with other people, the better, I think. So anyways, that's the story, I guess. Next time Facebook and Twitter go down or whatever, or next time you even log in, I guess, just, be thankful that we have it. We take it for granted, I think. But it's a great time. It's a great time to be alive, great time to be a collector, and definitely a great time to be in this hobby. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you'll have a great rest of the day.